Today is Sunday, August 4th, and this is your farm garden tour. So, just posted a video this weekend, one that I shot almost a month ago, well, at least a solid 2.5 weeks ago. And again, thank you all for your support and love as we try and figure out our new normal. But the garden waits for no one. Lots of changes out here, so I just wanted to take a quick video to show you what's going on and talk a little bit about what's coming on to harvest. So we are currently at the north end of the garden. These are sunshine kabocha squash. They're really pretty. And they're starting to get a good size. There's my hand. Can't see that really. They're about the size of, they're 1.5 times the size of a softball, I would say. So those are doing really well. Vines are starting to spread out and do what they do, which is take over the tarps. We've got a lot of squash coming up over here. These are the Turk's Turban, wild colors, crazy shape. These are squash as well. This is a winter squash, so they're going to be out here and grow for quite a bit longer yet before it's time to harvest any of these guys, but cool looking squash, good flavor. So we got those. Coming up over here, we were really shocked to see what our butternut is doing. Butternut squash are very juicy. Another winter squash. That is huge for this time of year. It's probably got, let's see, we're in August. We've got a solid another month of those guys being on the vines before it's even time to harvest them. And it looks like we're going to have a really nice harvest of those. They'll turn kind of a tannish pink color when they're ready to be picked. They don't, they're not very tolerant of frost and cooler temperatures. A lot of your pumpkins and squash, like acorn and such, and those blueprints that we had last year that are planted out here as well, those do okay in a light frost. These guys, the butternut, do not. Their outside skin is not very tough. So we've got to keep our eye on the calendar and the weather forecast as it becomes harvest time and make sure that we're getting those guys out before the temperatures dip. Otherwise, they will all simply rot, and nobody wants that. This is a nice little acorn squash. Got a pair of them here. They're looking good. So that is good news. Is that acorn squash? Yes, I believe it is. Here we go with some more. Actually, yeah, that's an acorn. Over here, this sad little melon. He's got a ton of weeds around him. We have not been able to get out here and do hardly anything because there's so many other things that are taking our time and energy right now that we need to attend to. So, lots of weeds, some stuff that should have been harvested that hasn't yet, and we're just doing the best we can. That's all we can do. So we have two things growing together here. We've got watermelons, which is this guy, and then we have, I think this is an early dew, which is a honeydew variety. That's what that is. Neat guy. Excited to see those ripen. I don't even know at this point if it's worth trying to untangle these guys or if we will destroy more fruit than it's worth in trying to untangle them versus just let them be symbiotic here and grow together and live together and then harvest them as they come to fruition. These are other watermelons. These are Georgia rattlesnake. You can tell the leaves are a little bit different compared to these guys. These are the blacktail watermelon. And these are this one here is the Georgia rattlesnake. I don't know that we'll really get much in the way of melons off of the Georgia rattlesnake because they have a very long period to harvest. I think it's well over 100 days. And the transplants that we put in the garden did not do well. Those I restarted from seed. I just don't know that they're going to have enough growing season left to really produce anything. But this is the Why the F Not garden. We shall figure it out and learn from our experiences, mistakes, and successes. These guys are the toothache plant. And they are pretty cool. I thought for some reason that they were going to be a little bushier. You take these very odd looking blossoms and you can chew on them and they numb your mouth, kind of like Novocaine. It's a weird sensation, fun thing to do to your family and friends. Here, chew on this. Yes, I've done it. It's a weird sensation. But you can dry that and use it if you've got a toothache or something going on in your mouth that's uncomfortable. I hear a lot of people use it for teething babies. So, Brussels sprouts are insane. These could be harvested. Every single one of these lower branches should be plucked off here to make room for the sprouts themselves. Again, time is the enemy, and that's why it has not happened on any of these Brussels sprouts. But there they are, looking good. And holy crap, look at the celery. Not really sure why we have some that are turning a whitish color. About 2 weeks to 3 weeks before you harvest the celery, you're supposed to wrap them up so they can blanch. Then you're also supposed to give them an excessive amount of water so that all of that water goes right into the stalks. But yeah, these guys are way better than I ever imagined based on what they look like when we planted them out here. Cabbages are doing okay. We've still got the marigolds all around them to try and prevent the cabbage butterflies and such. We do have some sort of an insect that is out here munching on them, which is quite inconsiderate, but it's not destroying them. This is a megaton. He's going to get to be about 4 times that size before he's ready to harvest. These are a smaller variety, and they are ready to go right now. At least the one on the top side, this guy here, he's ready to be picked. We'll probably pick him and take him home. Some more cabbage here. That guy ready to be picked. Here's another megaton. I find it very interesting that the megatons are leaning over. They're leaning toward the morning sun. So, interesting little observation. Our purple cabbages, those guys aren't even forming heads really yet. So that'll be interesting to see how they come along. These guys are more Brussels sprouts. As we walk down here further into the brassicas, we have our broccoli. There's some broccoli and more broccoli. And this guy definitely needs to get harvested. Otherwise, he's only probably a day or two away from going to seed, which kind of makes him somewhat inedible. We harvested the center out of this one, and then you can see these smaller shoots coming up around here, almost like they're single florets. So yeah, we are ready for a broccoli harvest. We'll probably do that here before we head home. These guys, I think, are the cauliflower. We don't seem to see any heads on them yet. First time I've ever grown cauliflower, so we'll see how that goes. Peppers are doing okay. We do still have some of these guys similar to the celery. They've got some leaf curl and some whitening on some of the leaves. Not sure what that is. Need to do some research and figure that out. But they are, oh, look at that! A bell pepper! Look at that! Didn't even know he was out here. That is super exciting. Super exciting. That guy too. We're going to leave him on because I'll be honest, I don't really like peppers as far as snacking on them or even putting them in meals. My mom likes to eat them quite often, but she definitely likes them when they've ripened. So the green guys, they taste way different than a red, an orange, a yellow, but I don't know how I missed this guy. He's awesome. We're gonna have to keep an eye on him and wait for him to turn color and pick him and eat him. That's gonna be cool. We've got some jalapenos. Woot woot. These guys are coming on pretty well. There's some more there. They look really good. And then the rest of these, looking to see if I can get surprised like I did with that one little bell pepper. I don't really see anything else going on. We've got, oh, look at, here's one. I think this might be what they call a shishito. This is a spot in the garden where all of our little stakes got bleached out. So it's a mystery what variety's what, but there's another one. Awesome. Very, very cool. These are turnips. I've harvested, oh, I don't know why that's going blurry on me. I've harvested some. These guys needed to be thinned. I mean, look at them. They're just right on top of one another. They're big. I did pick some of them. Look at that guy. Oh, turnip. So, maybe I'll harvest a few more. These guys will take them home. Troy will take some to work. I'll take some to work and see if we can't share the bounty on those. I don't really care for turnips, but my dad and uncle love them. So I gave a couple to my unc today. And yeah, sunflowers, look at those guys. These guys on the end have not opened their pretty little faces yet. Those guys in the middle are the standard yellow. We've got some in there that are kind of a yellow, orangish red mix. And some that are more just plain old red. So those guys are cool. They're doing well. Should have thinned those as well, but now that they're this big, I can't bring myself to pulling any of them out of the ground because they're alive. Who am I to stop their growth? The potatoes, I don't want to say they're a lost cause, but they're kind of a lost cause. If we just didn't have the time, the energy, whatever, to keep the bugs off, and the bugs have taken over. It's gross. The good news is we know that there's potatoes underneath the ground. So as the plants die off, we will just simply dig them and we'll be happy with what we get on the potatoes this year. Que sera, sera. Every gardener, every farmer is going to have a year where something is a bumper crop and something just doesn't work to plan. We will have potatoes this year, but it's been a bit frustrating with those critters. So it is what it is. These beans are getting ready for harvest. They're coming on. They were planted weeks, maybe even up to a month later than some of the other bush beans that we have in the garden. But they're starting to come, set on their beans. I would say by this upcoming weekend, there might be some in there right now that are ready to harvest. I'm getting ready to make a sweep through here and try and pick everything I possibly can that's ready to go. But yeah, they're coming, and I've been taking those to work, and Troy's been taking those to work because we have not had a lot of spare time to try and preserve. Also, we do still have quite a few canned green beans that are in our pantry right now. Thank goodness we had a bumper crop last year, and we had the time and bandwidth to be able to can those. So that's all good stuff. Here is a teddy bear sunflower. when that opens, it doesn't really have the traditional spot in the middle where you're used to seeing the sunflower kernels. They kind of end up just a bushy, fluffy looking flower. So hopefully within the next week, we'll start to see their pretty faces. These are beets. We're finding that we like to eat them when they're small, roast them or something of that nature. So we could probably pick a bunch more of those. Swiss chard, it's doing well. It's pretty to have in the garden, even if you're not eating it. So yeah, you can eat it like spinach. You can put it in a salad. I guess you can use some of the leaves and use them almost like you would cabbage leaves if you wanted to make like stuffed cabbage, but use, instead of cabbage, the Swiss chard leaves. So down here we've got a crap ton of volunteer morning glories. They're just crawling all over. We've got set onions down there amidst that mess. These are set onions over here as well. And then we get into these seed tapes that we planted. These are the bunching onions. And I think we need another week or two on these bunching onions. I pulled some again today, and they're beautiful, but they're just tiny. I guess they've got great flavor, and they're really tender though. So I sent those home with Unc as well, because those are one of his favorite things to munch and snack on. Again, these are potato bug ravaged potato plants. It is what it is. It is what it is. So over here, we've got our green beans. These are the dragon tongue green beans. They're more of a waxy bean. What I love about these is that they're stringless. Even when they get huge like this, the beans on the inside don't get obnoxiously large, and there's no strings. So you can eat those bad boys even when they're at a size where it seems like, this might be past its prime. They're still doing okay. Our peas, the heat has done what the heat normally does to peas. The plants are dying. Excuse me. So the pea harvest from these plants is likely kaput. They're done. These were the shell peas. I've still got a grocery bag full of those in the refrigerator that need to be shelled and then blanched and frozen. These are the snow peas. This plant, for whatever reason, looks really nice and healthy. We could probably harvest these few. I could just have Duke come in the garden and he would probably snap them off and eat them as well. But yeah, that's that for the peas. The pole beans down here, there was a garage sale this weekend, and we had picked a bunch of beans. I think we sold about 10 pounds worth of green beans, which is wild. We hadn't ever sold any produce out of the garden before, but we figured as long as there were going to be a bunch of people here and we knew we didn't have time to snap and process. I've got a vacation coming up here, traveling to the East Coast with my mom, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law. So I'm a solid week and a half to 2 weeks out before I have any time where I could do any preservation or processing. So anyway, that was kind of cool to sell some of the produce and meet some people in the area here who are fellow gardeners and wanted to know what our experiences have been and hear how the garden is doing as a whole, and hear how their gardens are doing. So that was kind of cool. More beans here. As soon as I stop recording, I will be out here picking. There is a cucumber. What kind of cucumber is that? He looks a little beat up, but still decent cuke. He is Tasty GR number 26. Yeah, pretty specific. Anyway, yeah, those guys are doing okay. My tomatoes, I am somewhere in between being happy and wanting to cry about the tomatoes. Excuse me, back in the beginning of July, we'd started coming through and pruning the tomatoes and tying them up on a trellis. Then my dad passed and I never completed the task. So I have tomatoes that are doing what tomatoes do when they're not trained up a trellis. They are riddled with weeds and they are flopping all over. I guess the good news is we've got fruit on them. I'm hoping that when I return from my vacation that I can get out here and try and get them up off the ground to give them better airflow, which helps prevent things like mildew, disease, rot, things of that nature. But we will have a tomato harvest. That is certain. It's just I'm a little disappointed with myself and circumstances that I haven't been able to get out here and do what I wanted to do with the tomatoes. But again, gotta give myself some grace. It is what it is, and we'll do what we can, enjoy what we are able to harvest, and learn and apply that knowledge toward our garden next year. I did see a tomato in there that is a yellow tomato that looks like it is ready to harvest. We got some giants in here. That is a pink Berkeley, which quite literally, once it ripens, it's going to be a pink tomato. Excited to see what that looks like, and we'll hopefully share that with you. What else have we got here? We do have some of our little cherry tomatoes down here that are ripe. I'll be picking those today. Isn't it cool how those guys just kind of grow almost on the vine like a grape? I wish they ripened all at one time. That would be so impressive looking if you could have them all ripe on the vine at the same time. It doesn't work that way. But it is what it is. So these guys down here are called nasturtium. And they got these almost lily pad looking leaves. These pretty little flowers. Both the leaves and the flowers are edible. You can throw those in salads. They've got a little kind of peppery taste. I say peppery, I mean, it's kind of like a spicy thing. They don't taste like a pepper, but they got a little bite. It's kind of neat. So anyway, those are planted there just because there was an open spot and we had a plant. And oh, this is a red one. I should not have picked him yet, but day or so he'll be ready to eat. Here's yellow cherry tomatoes. These guys taste awesome. My mom loves these. They're a little less acidic than the red ones. Juicy, great as a snack, great in a salad. So excited to see these guys coming on now. And I pick them off so that I don't forget about them. Anyway, we'll come down here to this larger yellow one. If I can make it through the tomato jungle. Oh my goodness. They're just everywhere. Yeah, so trying not to squish any vines or any fruit as I trudge through here and make it to the single tomato that I'd like to harvest, which is down there. As long as we're here, let's talk more cucumbers. So, we got a tomato cucumber mess here. They're making their own salad. These cucumbers are going crazy. We have more cucumbers than we can handle because I planted some, didn't think they were doing well, planted more. I think I planted 3 times. And I guess 3rd time's the charm to make sure that you have enough cucumbers to have cucumbers every day for the rest of your life. Here's a smaller guy. These guys are tasty. This is the English long. Even when they get huge, and when most people would say that is too big to eat, the seeds are small. I think that actually the seed catalogs call them seedless. They're not truly seedless. Their seeds just aren't hard, and they don't get big like, you know, your mom's tomato or your mom's cucumbers from when you were a kid. So those are pretty good, pretty tasty. Again, still trying to make my way over to the well-hidden tomato. And here's some other guys. These are the green light cucumbers. Oh my goodness. I missed that guy. These do have slightly larger seeds. But that thing's huge. Crazy. But they're still a good cucumber. Pick them about this size, and they're kind of like the ones that you get in the grocery store that you just grab and snack on. Those are great to take to work. So, anyway, got some of those guys. And what else? Oh, we're almost to our tomato. Step carefully. There it is! Oh, I hope it doesn't have blossom end rot. Looks like I've got something drilling into this one. So I'm just going to take that one and say, fly, my friend, be free. Here is our oh, he does. He's got blossom end rot. That is a bummer. That goes pretty deep. Does not appear to be a spot that we can clean out. So, guess what? Fly, my friend, be free. This is what happens when you don't really have the time to tend your garden. It just kind of does what it's gonna do. The trick this year is learning how to be okay with that. So, that is about it for your farm garden tour. I appreciate you hanging out with me. Have a wonderful day. Hope you had a great weekend. And until next time, take care.